To start our panel discussion. And our topic for this panel discussion is going to be Fortifying India, Milk Fortification Journey So Far. And for this, I would like to call on stage all our panel members. The first one is Dr. Bikas Ghosh, Emeritus Professor, Dairy Technology, NDRI. Can we have a huge round of applause for him, everyone? Kumar, Mr. Neeraj Kumar, VP Sales and Marketing, JAYSHRI, GAYATRI Food Products Private Limited. Mr. Mohinder Kumar, Salooja, former Director and Professor, School of Agriculture, Indira Gandhi National Open University, IGNOU. Let's give him a huge round of applause, everyone. Mr. Mayank Kumar, DGM, R&D at Mother Dairy. Ms. Aparna Tandon Jain, Lead Nutrition and NPD from Signutra. Let's give her a huge round of applause, everyone. Okay, last but not the least, our moderator, Dr. Neerja, Hajela, Head Science and Regulatory Affairs from Yakult, Danone, India. So we welcome to all our panel members. Now the stage is all yours. Thank you so much.
So good morning, everyone. And before I begin, a big thank you to Synix Group. They always have this very wonderful platform where we meet very often and we can discuss several topics which are emerging trends today. And among that, today we are going to be talking about milk fortification in India. So briefly, I'd like to introduce my panel members. It's an expert group of people we have here. So we have Professor Mohinder Kumar Salooja. He is the former director and professor, School of Agriculture, Indira Gandhi National Open University. So a round of applause for him. Then we have Aparna Tandon. She was actually a clinical nutritionist and now she is lead nutrition and NPD, new product development in Signutra. We have Mr. Mayank Kumar. He is DGM R&D. He is with Innovation Center, Mother Dairy Fruits and Vegetables Private Limited. We have Dr. Bikas Ghosh. He is an emeritus professor. I just heard that he has been with NDRI for more than 43 years. So he is with NDRI in Bangalore. And then we have Mr. Neeraj Kumar. He is VP Sales and Marketing, JAYSHRI GAYATRI Food Products Private Limited. So just to set the stage for this topic and discussion going forward, we all know that micronutrient deficiency is a very silent epidemic. Globally, we know that almost 2 billion people lack essential micronutrients, which are very, very important for leading a healthy life. In India, more than 185 million people lack micronutrients, and the deficiency is prevalent mostly in children. And as we can see by the statistics, about 70% of children under 5 years of age, they lack vitamin D. And 57% of children of all age groups, they lack vitamin A. Now what happens with these deficiencies is that this contributes to stunting, this contributes to wasting, this contributes to underweight. And, affordable, and how do you combat these micronutrient deficiencies? Most often what we do is we take nutritional supplements. We take nutritional supplements, and of course they're very, very helpful for combating these micronutrient deficiencies. But very often, overuse of these nutritional supplements can lead to toxicity. So food fortification is one of the most easy, preventive and cost-effective solution to help combat this emerging era of hidden hunger or micronutrient deficiency. Now, looking at India, except for mandatory salt fortification, in the earlier times with iodine, it has lagged behind in fortification of foods as compared to the Western world. And this is actually a missed opportunity when it comes to vitamin A and D, because one glass of milk, which is about 320 ml, can actually give you 34% of vitamin A and 47% of vitamin D. So look at that stat and just see how much we could have helped the population by just giving that one glass of milk, which is fortified with vitamin A and D. Of course, in 2016, FSSAI brought out standards, and they, urged, it was a voluntary standard, but they urged staples to be fortified with different micronutrients, whether it's wheat, rice, oil, milk, and salt. And Mother Dairy, in fact, NDDB, about 3 decades back, they are the first ones who started this entire fortification of milk with vitamin A and D. And despite the significant health benefits that were observed with this fortified milk, India was lagging behind. So today, to discuss on this topic, I have experts with me, and I'm going to understand from them what are the opportunities, what are the challenges, how can you really achieve fortification of milk in India, and what is the way forward. So my first question is to Aparna. Aparna, what is the prevalence of vitamin A and D deficiency across all age groups in India? And what are the means of, overcoming that micronutrient deficiency?
As you rightly said, doing a lot of fortification program, and so even though although we are having so many programs, still you will see the vitamin A deficiency and vitamin D deficiency very much prevalent. So when I talk about the numbers, the prevalence data, so the latest data says that vitamin D deficiency, it is very common among the preschool children. 62% of preschool children, they suffer from vitamin D deficiency, and the subclinical vitamin A deficiency. Night blindness is something which is very common among the pregnant women. Around 12% of pregnant women, they also suffer from this night blindness. I think there's some echoes happening. So,
sound needs to be adjusted. Aparna, why didn't you use this one? Just close the other one.
yeah, so now it's better. So vitamin A deficiency, which is very, very common among the preschool children. The data says that 62% preschool children, they suffer from vitamin A deficiency and subclinical vitamin A deficiency. And among the pregnant women. So a lot of government programs are implemented for specifically for children starting from the 9 months of age until the time they achieve 5 years of age. Every 6 months interval, they were given supplementation. And when we talk about vitamin D deficiency, so vitamin D deficiency, it's the adults who suffers a lot, and the young adults, specifically your below 25 years of age. A lot of adults, they are also suffering from vitamin D deficiency. 3 out of 4 adults were found vitamin D deficient. So vitamin D deficiency is also very, very much prevalent, and these are the 2 fat-soluble vitamins which are available in the natural food sources also, and there is a scope for supplementation and fortification, and of course FSSAI has come up with the guidelines as well, how you can fortify the staple foods, and specifically the milk with vitamin A and vitamin D in order to overcome this deficiency or the malnutrition problem which is there in India.
So you think food fortification is among one of the better interventions that can be used for overcoming. So having said that, Neeraj, what do you think? Which do you think is, when we look at fortified foods, which is the best food matrix for food fortification?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. So, this depends upon the population we are targeting. And if we are targeting kids or any age group, then milk is the best food product. And then apart from this, dairy product can be fortified like your paneer, cheese, and then we can also fortify, yeah, please. So yeah, we can also fortify cereals like, bread and noodles. Like now kids are eating noodles very much. So if we can fortify that, then this will solve the purpose. So there are a lot of margarine can be fortified. Many people are shifting to non-dairy fat also. So margarine can be fortified, butter can be fortified. So we have a scope to fortify almost all the dairy products and the cereals and all other products which is consumed daily. So I think we can do this.
Which is the best food matrix?
Best is dairy, of course, and in dairy milk is the best, and then we should go for paneer and cheese. Consumption of cheese and paneer is increasing nowadays, so we should go for that.
Thank you, Neeraj. And Dr. Bikas, with your 43 years of experience in NDRI, you're the best person to tell us that what is the process of fortifying milk with vitamin A and D?
Yeah, this is a milk is the best vehicles for the fortifications of the vitamin A and D. And these two vitamins have a synergistic effect, because unless we all know the vitamin D is used or fortified for the better absorption of the calcium. But unless you add a vitamin A, this bioavailability of the vitamin D, it is little less. So therefore, you see that always vitamin A and D is fortified together in the milk. And milk, why I am telling, this is how it is to be added. Normally, it is good because these two vitamins are the fat-soluble vitamin. When you have a reduced fat milk, then it is very essential. Because when you are removing the fat, that means vitamin A and D is removed. And therefore, it is very much essential to add a vitamin D fortification. This vitamin D and A fortification, normally it is done, industrially it is done. If you take a little butter, oil or butter, that means the fat medium where these vitamins to be added, and then in a medium hot, 45 to 50 degrees centigrade, this is to be dissolved. And this portion has to be homogenized with the other quantity of the milk. Then it will uniformly mix. When you will do all these process, we will do before the pasteurization, normal way of milk pasteurization, this is to be done. And finally, it has to be homogenized, and then it has to be processed finally. Okay. Now, when you will add this, how much quantity you should add? On an average, it differs with the milk fat content. So therefore, the vitamin D concentration should be ideal for a 100 to 180 international unit. Because it varies, country-wise to country-wise it varies. So in that range, if it presents, it will be ideal. So 100 to 180 units of the vitamin. And normally, how much it is present in the milk? Milk, again, it depends upon the fat. On an average cow milk, in the 40 unit, it is normally present. In vitamin E, vitamin A is also similar. Vitamin A presents. If a fat percentage in the milk is around 1%, then this is around 45 to 50 international unit is present. So this also needs to be improved, that means increased for the better absorptions of that. And because of its values, it is that it is only not only the increases the calcium bioavailability, absorption of the calcium, it also observed that there is a report that there are 3 diseases. It also helps. One is rickets, that is, you have seen, that weakening or softening of the bones, that is the very much essential for the calcium absorption. Second was, it also helps, then 16 to 20% is the reduce the occurrence of the diarrhea. And similarly, around 25 to 50%, 30%, that also helps in reduce the occurrence of 30% of that pneumonia. These 3 things are also, therefore, it is very much essential to add. And it has in whatever observations, whether in India, it is not a mandatory, whereas in Sweden, in Canada, it is a mandatory. You have to add. In US, Norway and Finland, it is all voluntarily. In India, also voluntarily. In KMF, they also add the Karnataka Milk Federation. They also add vitamin A and D. Okay, again, this is normally it is true for homogenized milk. So that is they are adding, and who is helping them? World Bank and Tata Trust. Tata Trust are voluntarily, they come forward, and they are helping in fortification process, whatever. How much it costs? The cost is around 2 paisa per liter of milk fortification as a vitamin D. And A also, similarities are A. So there is a price-wise, there is not much variation, but the benefit-wise, it is too much of benefit, particularly for children, 6 months to 24 months of age, it is very much essential. That is why many of the countries, they are fortifying, though it is not a mandatory. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Bikas. That was very well put, and thank you for such an elaborate. I never knew that for vitamin D absorption, vitamin A is very essential.
This has a synergistic effect.
Synergistic.
In the ratio of 25 to 1. So always vitamin A will be more as compared to the vitamin D. Then it will be a better absorption of the calcium. Main purpose of that is to the absorption of the calcium, bioavailability of the calcium, which improves your bone health. That is what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Dr. Salooja, you're a veteran in dairy science. So what are these, having said that, that yes, it's all very good to know that we can fortify milk with vitamin A and D. But then what about the challenges? What about stability? What about bioavailability? What about toxicity of vitamin A and D if it is added to milk? How do you, overcome these challenges?
Yes, Dr. Neerja, I would say my colleagues have set the tone for the need and importance, and Dr. Ghosh very well explained the benefits and the process also. I see the challenges, I have named them as a 4 to 5 S. That is a type of a thing. One thing is scalability. Like we know we are number 1, like in the dairy conference, we are the number 1 in the world. But the level of fortification is quite less. It's only 8 to 10% coverage we have made till now. So this is one of the challenges, that how to reach to the last mile to our consumers, particularly to the non-accessible people. So this is the challenge is there. And we more particularly in the unorganized sector. As we all know that around 45% milk is handled by the unorganized sector. So one thing is that how to scale or how to cover the unorganized sector is there. Second challenge in this is that particularly when you want to involve the small scale entrepreneurs, then we have to see that they use properly technology, like Dr. Ghosh mentioned, that how we have to homogenize it, what is the level of vitamin A, vitamin D is to be there, and what metrics it can be over toxicity also. So this is there, because if the quality and uniformity is not there, and once we are going to go for the large scale, so this is one of the problem could be there, particularly in type of processing equipment, and how which process you will do it, and what type of quality control measures we will put into these things. That is the first challenge in our country. That is, unorganized level people is there, and how to train the small scale entrepreneurs or small processor, that they go for the, this system is there. Second is like stability and bioavailability. At present level, the stability is also one of the concerns is there, because the stability throughout the processing, distribution and storage also. Now this vitamin D is it can go degradation during the storage, and the, like we all know the effect of light, temperature, and these things also, oxygen, these things affect the stability. And in one, like in the, even the NDDB manual also, it has been mentioned that if you heat the milk around 1.5% when you pasteurize it, and boiling is around 1.7, and sterilization 1.9% of fortified milk losses will take place. Now in our country, boiling is very much done. We have taken the pasteurized milk, but still we go for boiling. So the level of losses will be there. Now it's bioavailability, like Dr. Ghosh mentioned, vitamin A should be also be present. And then there can be interaction could be there. And this interaction could be more in the water food matrix. It could be more vitamin D degradation could be there, and it will lose its potential also. Now in some of the packed materials also, it has been observed that there is a deposition of the vitamin D is there. Now this could be because of the packaging material. There are plasticizers are there. We add some of those additives also. So they can interact with the vitamin D and degrade the things are there. So this aspects is also we have to take care when we select the packaging material, that appropriate packaging material should be there. Similarly, the bioavailability also, like now, particularly we are tropical countries there. So if you keep the milk packet outside, the storage will also start deteriorating the vitamin D. Higher temperature normally leads to the degradation of this, and which will affect the stability and bioavailability is there. Then third is, like I said, safe level. That is indirectly related to toxicity. Like Dr. Ghosh mentioned, there are a lot of benefits is there. Calcium absorption, and particularly the DHODIA also, it controls these things. But then if you exceed the limit, then there are problems are there. Vitamin D, toxicity could be there. That's the one thing is there. Then even if your calcium level can go higher also, if you don't control yourself. And third level, particularly the calcium deposition can be there in all your organs could be there. And even some can face gastrointestinal problem also. Now when this fortification is done, then we have to see also from, like our oil is also being fortified, and milk is also being fortified, and if you also start taking vitamin D capsule also, because whenever now there's a trend, you feel that because we are always sitting in the inside, and we don't go to the sun, so we go to the doctor with some pain, knee pains or something, particularly like person like me old. So they say go for vitamin D. So you will find that if your overdose of vitamin D is there, that could be, problems could be there. So this safe limit is also one of the concern is there, because over deposition is there. Then the last is the safety aspects. Like I mentioned, there is a need for development of protocols. If you see the regulations, FFSI regulations, they have come with the good mechanism. It has been prescribed. But then how far it is being followed, and particularly how far it will be followed at the small scale level, that has to be ensured. Because we always, with the milk association, the problem is always we are blamed that for adulteration, particularly during the Diwali time or festival time, everyone look to the dairy technologists, whether sweets are okay or not. So whether this type of new problems can also come with the, when we go for the large scale, particularly for fortification, so this could be there. Then the problem, madam, could be there for the test facilities and testing facilities, because tests are not so common or easy to do it, and testing facilities are limited. If you see the guidelines of FSI, so you have to submit the report to the FSI about your test and the other facilities, so that infrastructure is required. So infrastructure is also not built up to that level, so that it can be there. Then, like I mentioned, protocols also to be required. Now this, when we say a lot of advantages are there, in responsible fortification and monitoring is, our advertisement is also very important. Because lot of players, they take advantage of, they will take the fortification advantage that our milk is so good or so much this and that. So that responsibility should also be there. So it should not become a marketing tool that you are selling the milk. So that control is to be there. Then the cost consideration is to be there, because 2 paisa, Dr. Ghosh mentioned, I agree, it's too less, and if you see the FFSI also, but then the level of margin in the milk processing is also very less. So this 2 paisa per liter for a small manufacturer is a big amount, because in a competitive world, like what is happening, why the Amul is going to KMF? So when we think of the small manufacturer, so this small amount is also very important. And then particularly regulatory compliance, I say the challenge. Now the nutrition, ICMR has come with the new nutritional diets, 2020. So there the requirement has increased. So the regulations also have to be changed, is there. So besides their own job of monitoring and everything, so these are the challenges for our country, which I feel as a dairy professional, that once we go for the scalability, how to maintain the stability if I am in the dairy processing, and to ensure that I am giving the safe limit to my population, because there had been examples in USA where the premix has been added overloaded, and the kids have become, I mean, they have to be taken to hospitalized also. And testing infrastructure, I mean, it's growing, FFSI is supporting, but there is a lot of, particularly for vitamin A and D analysis, so these things are required. So these are my initial remarks with the challenges.
Dr. Salooja,
Thank you.
that was a very elaborate description and also needed, because we really do not know how, you can actually ensure that it is stable in a particular milk, that packet that we get. But who's better than Mayank here to tell us about Mother Dairy? Mother Dairy has been doing this for 3 decades, and we all love to buy that vitamin A and D fortified milk from Mother Dairy. So how do you ensure that it is stable, plus the taste is, it's palatable? I mean, what are the challenges that you face when you make a milk which is fortified with A and D for all?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Neerja. So, as we all aware, technology for fortification is very simple, and it is available and well known, because it's, this practice of fortification is being done since long. So, the prevalence of this vitamin A and D deficiency, that we have already understand that more than 70% of the vitamin D and more than 60% of vitamin A deficiency are prevailing in children below 5 years. That leads to a lot of issues. So as a development, I would like to highlight few aspects that needs to be taken care, like we already discussed about the bioavailability, this stability, this shelf life of the vitamin, or stability of the vitamin, and at the same time this cost and other quality and safety aspects. So as a designer, we need to understand the whatever selection we are doing, that is very well suitable. Milk is, for example, if you take the example of milk, milk is kind of oil in water kind of emulsion that contains this milk fat, and that is a very good, basically fat soluble vitamins. And both vitamin A and D are fat soluble. So matrix of nutrient versus this nutrient and matrix should be very important to select any media for this. So interaction between these two are there. So being a mother dairy, we are almost fortifying for more than 3 decades, and we are the pioneer for this vitamin A fortification. And we used to, that time we were only fortifying vitamin A by adding vitamin A in the butter, and followed by the homogenization process. So now the technology has evolved, and lot of water dispersible vitamin premixes are available, where we can add directly, and there is no need to homogenize the product. So what are dispersible vitamin premixes are available. So if you see, there are a lot of varieties where milks are non-homogenized, even though we are able to fortify all these. And the second aspect is like stability of any nutrient or any fortificant is very, very important. Dr. Salooja has explained, what happens during storage and shelf life of fortificants, what happens, phase separation or crystallization or any light sensitive vitamins can lose their efficacy. So if we are adding those fortificants in the milk, what will happen? That will lead to whatever we are declaring that will not meet. So by analysis during the shelf life, the analysis will not give the results and benefit cannot be forwarded to the consumers. So it's very important as a developer, we need to ensure during shelf life study or during shelf life of even fortificant, it should be evaluated properly and accordingly overages are added. Because a few of the nutrients are lost, maybe 2-3% during the processing, and accordingly overages are added, so that at the during the time of consumption period, it doesn't lose its nutritional value. And at the same time, the next is quality and food safety. And Dr. Salooja well explained, there's a lack of infrastructure where availability of proper lab is not there. So if we analyze the same sample in different labs, we might get a different kind of results. So good infrastructure is also required. So we have to ensure a proper testing facility for all these. And being dairy or milk a very good vehicle for the food fortification, the selection of food base is also very important for design point of view. So thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mayank. So coming back to Aparna, in 2016, I think FSSAI got out standards for fortification of staples, and milk was one of them. So can you elaborate on what FSSAI really brought out?
They gazetted the fortification of foods in 2018, and it was for staples, and wherein they have identified these staples, like for wheat flour, they said iron, folic acid, B12. For milk, so any kind of milk, whether it is full cream, low fat, all kind of milk to be fortified with vitamin A and D. Then it was salt with iodine and iron. So they have for the milk or the limits what we need to have for vitamin A and D. So these are being specified in the FSSAI regulation, that what limits you can add and the kind of salts what you can have. So like in case of vitamin A, they have given retinyl acetate, or you can have retinyl palmitate as the salt forms. For vitamin D, cholecalciferol or ergocalciferol, that you can use for fortification, as well as the limits. Like for vitamin D, it was 5 to 7.5 micrograms. And similarly for vitamin A, they have given 270 to 450 microgram retinol equivalents. So these were identified and given to the food manufacturers who can use these limits. And as we all know that why we are discussing this, that milk is consumed by all population groups. Every day we all drink milk, and India is the largest producer of milk. Approximately 150 million tons is what we are producing. So it's a milk dominated country. So if we fortify the milk, this is the best medium. And there are very encouraging data also. There are a lot of studies also conducted wherein it is shown that children who are consuming the fortified milk, they have shown less deficiency symptoms and in the blood parameters as well. So I think this is a very well accepted. the only thing is we need to educate also. Education is also important. A few of the panel members already highlighted that this is not very costly. It's a very cheap thing when it comes to cost. The mixing is also now innovative. Mediums are available. You can get homogenized mixtures. The fortification can be done in a dry powder form or a liquid or a oil form or a water soluble form. So all these forms are available. We just need to educate people, and for that education purpose also FSSAI has come up with plus F logo, which states on the pack itself that this is a fortified food. So I think we need to do more of education also. We need to have some literature for the consumers as a lot of people from the industries are also here. So I would request every industry member also to do something on the consumer education aspects also, that these are things which are available in the market and they should get benefit out of it.
Thank you, Aparna. So milk fortification is not just, it has happened. Jharkhand was one state which was most affected with vitamin A and vitamin D deficiency. And then in 2017, Jharkhand Milk Federation, they took up this project of milk fortification. And while at the beginning of the year, they fortified 13,000 liters of milk, by the end of the year, it was 80,000 liters of milk. So yes, it is very much possible, and that state then helped, to improve the health of the population of that particular state. So it is very much possible, but what Aparna said is very true. Does the consumer understand the meaning of that F plus logo? Does the consumer understand that when he's having that glass of milk, he's also getting vitamin A and vitamin D? So how are we are all sitting here together, and I think it has to be a combined effort of industry, of regulators, of manufacturers to make the consumer understand what benefit he or she is getting out of consuming that fortified milk. I know that in Tamil Nadu, they had introduced the double fortified salt, iron and iodine fortified salt, but consumers are not buying it because they do not understand what they are getting from that particular salt. So coming to you, Neeraj, how do you think we can really educate the consumer here? Because till the consumer understands that benefit of the fortification or the product, he or she is not going to buy it. So what do you think is the way forward for that?
Yeah, very true. Actually, we need to communicate what is fortification, what is the benefit of it. Like Dr. Salooja said that how much to boil it, how many times you have to boil it so that fortification is there and it doesn't lost in the boiling and too much of boiling. So we need to educate consumer and we need to tell them what is the benefit of it. So government and corporate should run a campaign for this communication. And this, what happens in India, still a large portion is loose milk. So if corporates come forward and do a collective effect to efforts to communicate the benefits of it, then their sale will also go up because people will shift from loose to pack.
Packed.
So
yes. Unorganized sector
so
to unorganized.
there is a huge difference between loose milk and packed milk of this fortification. This can be highlighted. And this could be a winning point.
Yes, agreed.
This could be
but
a win-win
FSSAI
situation.
did come out with the Eat Right movement, I think. So there has been a lot of effort,
but
I think we have a long journey to cover.
We have to
So
increase
thank you
it.
so much, all the panel members, for your expert, comments and for educating all of us about how vitamin A and D fortification is so important. And now we still have 5 minutes left, so I've left the last 5 minutes for the audience. In case we have an expert panel here, so in case any of you have a question, you all can ask the experts here. Let's just get 1 or 2 questions from the audience and then we can. Any questions from the audience? Yes.
Once the milk is received by the processing units,
how about providing that fortification through natural process? As I understand literatures, and probably Sir can verify that, if you give premixes which have these vitamins to cows, a 1/3% of that fortification automatically happens by natural means into the milk. So is there also some way of educating the farmers that by doing a better practices, the natural fortification of milk can be achieved, which is, I think, so more sustainable in terms of it doesn't get easily deposited, easily destroyed. So I just have a question for the esteemed panel. Is there some way to educate the farmers how they can naturally fortify the milk rather than doing it once the milk has been received by the processing units? And if I'm correct or not in what I have mentioned here.
So I think Dr. Bikas, Dr. Salooja.
You are correct, but that means animal feed. In that only if you add, so there will be a not totally converting it, 1/3 it will come. It is correct. And there is another approach that it is the genetical improvement. Through the genetics also, is it possible now the technology has come to improve the vitamin D content and into the milk. That is for genetically. These two are approach. I agree with you. And similar approach is also being done. That is a diet egg production. In the poultry, they give the feed and they also get it. That in that way, because egg fortifications with the omega-3 fatty acids, through that only, that is the technology is being used. And another thing just I want to mention that there 2 paisa per liter of this is not in a, if you approach to the World Bank, Tata Trust that voluntarily they are given and to take up all these things, they will finance you for the fortification, because the importance of the fortification is so high that the government also should subsidize this extra cost that to eradicate the malnutrition, particularly for the young children. It is very much essential. And she was also telling that not only the vitamin A and D fortification, the milk doesn't contain any iron. Iron is also very much essential. So people are trying iron fortification, zinc fortification, magnesium fortification, and also latest through that it is the bioactive, lower molecular weights of bioactive fortification to develop a functional food for better health. That is the things are going on in between. Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
I also particularly like...
Any other question from the audience? Just one more question, then we'll get it.
Hello. Yeah. Vitamins A and D, if we add in cattle feed, then it will transmit in milk or not. And overage dose given to cattle feed, then it will improve animal health, or either it may transmit in milk.
So when we are talking about cattle feed, now we are touching on the animal nutrition, right? So animal nutrition, the guidelines are not yet finalized for India, but there are still the limits which are defined, that what limit of nutrients you can feed to the any farm animal, right? So the same physiology is going to happen even in the animals also. So if we are going to do the overdose of any such fat-soluble vitamins, it's not necessary that whatever we are giving 100% is going to be secreted in the milk. This fat-soluble vitamin is going to get deposited in the liver of the animals as well, like in the case of humans. If we take these fat-soluble vitamins for a longer period of time, it can cause toxicity. So we have to go by the guidelines, although it has not been regularized in India. There are not guidelines given for animal nutrition yet, but it is soon gonna come. And A and D both are fat soluble vitamins. You can't ensure that 100% is gonna be there in the milk. And then whatever milk you are gonna get, it is gonna go through the processing. So processing losses which are happening, we are only fortifying those nutrients, whatever is being lost during the process, in clearing that milk, whatever we are receiving from the farms. So I think we can't be able to overcome.
So Dr. Salooja,
No,
last word is yours.
yeah, no. Thank you very much. I agree, but just for my, I mean, say the small scale manufacturer and the other milk processing units, FFSI has also established FRCC unit.
Yes.
That is the resource center,
Food
and it is in the NIFTIM. Anyone can take the help of particularly that how to get the premix is there and what is the technology they want to use it. So that can be used for that purpose. And second, I also agree that it is the, I mean, say, generating awareness and training and the community participation is there. And what Dr. Ghosh mentioned, Data Trust with the World Bank and NDDB, they are also supporting the things are there. So with this is a good opportunity for all the dairy manufacturers to go for fortification of the milk, and that will add a type of a new value-added product to your profile. So good wishes. Thank you.
So thank you. With that, we come to the end of the panel discussion. We have our panel members here. You can interact with them for tea, but I've just finished at the dot of time. So thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much to all of you. It was very, very good learning for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much once again to all the panel members. Okay, so with this, we would be starting a felicitation ceremony. And to felicitate all the panel members, I would like to call on stage. I want everybody out here, please put your hands together for Marios Christou, the General Manager of Agadhenjlu. Can we have a huge round of applause for him? Okay, so for the felicitation, I would like to call on stage Dr. Bikas Ghosh. Mr. Neeraj Kumar. Mr. Mohinder Kumar Salooja. Mr. Mayank Kumar. Miss Aparna Tandon Jain. Dr. Neerja Hajela. Let's give them a huge round of applause to all our panel members. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much, Marius, for joining us on the stage.